Hi everyone, I hope you're having a lovely week. I can't believe it is December already. And where has this year even gone? It feels mad. So this weekend we've got our food bank. So if you are local to Loudon, you're in Nottinghamshire or you're passing, make sure you come and join us. So it's starting at 8:30 until 10 and we'll be open for any food drop-offs. And then at 8:45 till 9:30, we're doing a workout that's open to everyone and anyone. You can come and join in. All we ask for in return is just some food towards a food bank. That's all. So I will hopefully see you there. And I just want to say this week, wow, the socials are blowing up with positive, festive energy with the LMF Advent Challenge. Keep them coming and keep tagging us because it's so wonderful to see. And also, not only are you keeping accountable, and keeping motivated, but other people will be seeing this and you'll be inspiring and motivating them as well. Again, anyone can join in. So just send them our way. We'll send the advent calendar over and yeah, keep doing the challenges. The one today was standing on one leg while you're brushing your teeth for 1 minute. So give that a try if you haven't already. 1 minute on one leg and then switch sides and do the other minute of brushing your teeth on the other leg and your balance will absolutely improve. So that was today's challenge. And one final notice from me. This week, we started something totally new at the squad. We started doing classes at 6 a.m. in the morning. And this is a bit of an experiment, really, because I know full well in December that things get really, really busy and your health and fitness can go on the back burner and it shouldn't. Like, we're looking after our health and fitness isn't something we can just switch on and off whenever we fancy. That's like saying brushing our teeth is something we can switch on and off whenever we fancy. We know that if we do that, there are going to be consequences. And the same thing, if we're not working out regularly and we just stop, there are going to be consequences. And we all have the power to choose. We have the power to choose what time we go to bed. We have the power to choose, controlling the controllables, by the way. If you've got little kids, then maybe not. But we've all got the power to choose what goes into our mouths, into our bodies. We've got the power to choose whether we work out or not. And it doesn't matter what that looks like. It might be, really short workouts that are all random times in the day. But we all have the power to choose. We can do whatever we like as long as we're willing to deal with the consequences of our actions, of our choices. And the consequences of not working out regularly are not very nice. So, just like if you didn't brush your teeth for a while, the consequences would not be nice. If you were dealing with an issue and you didn't go to the doctor's, consequences wouldn't be nice. If you never ever went to a hairdresser, unless you cut your hair yourself, the consequences probably won't be great. So you need to be looking after yourself on a regular basis. So this is why I decided to put the class at 6, because then if you're a busy person, the day can do whatever it likes after that point. You've done something to fill up your cup, something positive to start the day. Start the day in the best way. Make sure your workout gets done. And even if you've had a rubbish night's sleep, right? Getting up and doing your workout at 6 is the most energizing thing you can do for the rest of the day. What's the alternative? Getting up a little bit later, still having had a rubbish night's sleep, then don't do your workout because you're feeling a little bit tired, which then in turn makes you feel even more tired. And then you might have some excess energy before you go to bed, so then you struggle to sleep again. Like if you get into regular routine of working out, you will find that you will sleep better. Anyway, that is why we're trying it. And so far, the feedback has been fantastic. Classes have been rammed. Like the 6 o'clock class is busier than the 6:30, and the 6:30 is already really busy anyway. So classes have been so busy. The feedback has been amazing. A lot of squaddies have been able to do the live classes when they couldn't before because 6:30 was that little bit later or a little bit too much of a push. And some people are really enjoying doing them back to back because what we've done is we put complementary classes on. So if there's a cardio first, there'll be a strength or a holistic second, and vice versa. So if you want to stay for the two classes, the 20 minutes, then great, because it complements the one from before. And same if you do alternate days as well. Now, if you stick to either the 6 a.m. or the 6:30, or you follow them on demand, or you go to our new button called This Week's Classes, where we upload them all. So you can literally follow the timetable. Look at the class on Monday when they're uploaded by 8:30 in the morning. You can do them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, etc. So if you choose one of those classes to follow, or you do them both, either way, you're going to be hitting your government required, government advised exercise minutes per week. So that's all you need to do. Follow the sixes or the 6:30, or do both of them, and you will hit the guidelines for being active. I've done the thinking work for you. All you need to do is turn up and make it realistic for you. If it's not realistic to do 6 and 6:30 or follow them both every day, don't do what you can. It might be like all right, I don't have time for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday and do a walk. Or yeah, I'm just going to stick to one of them. I'm going to follow the 6 a.m.s or do the 6 a.m.s or the 6:30s, whatever. Anyway, you get the idea. We've got you covered. And doing something is always better than doing nothing, no matter what it looks like. Let's dive into the questions. And oh, if you do know anyone who does want to join the squad team, do get in touch as soon as possible. So our prices for the 6-week course are going to be going up in the new year. So now is a good time to basically like secure your place and yeah, change your life. I know it sounds really cheesy, but it's true, isn't it? As soon as you start looking after yourself and get into a good routine with exercise and looking after you, it changes your life. Let's dive into the questions. Here we go. Question number 1, I'm going to do them in order, gang. When did you start exercising? As you do now, I'm worried that I've started this journey too late in life. Sorry, I'm just turning the microphone around. Okay. So I think the most important thing here is to not compare yourself with anybody else. Only think about what you're doing. And it is never, ever, ever too late. It's never too late. The best time to start was last year or the year before or last month or last week. And the second best time to start is right now. Start with where you're at and don't worry about anyone else. You need to focus on your journey and your path. Use other people to lift you up and inspire you, but they're not you. They're not you. So use them for inspiration, for motivation, but focus on your journey. Where are you right now? Where do you want to be? And what are the steps to take you there? So we don't need to think about, right, okay, my ultimate goal is I'm going to be running a half marathon by the end of next year. Like that would just be like, it's not unrealistic. But I mean, to think that that's our only goal right now would be crazy, right? So what we do is like, bring it back to where we are now. For example, if you just started working out and you're doing a couple of classes a week, right, my aim over the next month is to build that up to 3. And I'm going to make sure that there's a good variety in there. So I'm doing a strength, a holistic and a cardio. And then from that point, my aim is going to be Monday to Friday, I'm going to follow the 6 a.m.s. I'm either going to go live or I'm going to follow them. And I'm going to do that for the next 2 or 3 months. So just build it up with where you're at right now. It's never, ever, ever too late. And actually, a lot of people get into this really, I personally think like quite unhealthy mindset where they think that, oh, you know, I've hit a certain age right now, you know, insert age. What I've heard all sorts. Like I've hit a certain age right now, so really I need to be like, you know, slowing down. And it's that mindset that actually makes that happen. If you just think, right, I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to have some aims, I'm going to have some goals, and I'm going to go for it. And you will be in a much, much better, healthier place. There's a difference between a 70-year-old who works out regularly 3 to 4 times a week and stays active and does steps and joins in on all the challenges, etc. And yeah, listens to their body. If something isn't feeling right, just adapting and move or whatever, if they need to, that's the big if. Versus the 70-year-old who says, do you know what, my back's hurting a little bit, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be doing anything. I'm gonna rest. I need to be slowing down a little bit now. You know, maybe I need to start thinking about ordering, I don't know, some sort of mobility aid. And I know both 70-year-olds and actually 80-year-olds. I know both. You got to think, where do you want to be? Like I said, you just need to adapt according to your body. But as soon as you have the mindset of, I am too old for X, or maybe I shouldn't be doing X because of my age. Like, no. Has your body told you that you can't? Has your doctor said? Probably not. So I would just say, start where you are and don't worry. Focus on the little goals along the way. Tick off your core 4. That's what you need to focus on. How can I stop having alcohol and snacks in the evening? Now, I think this is a habit that is extremely, extremely common. So please know, first of all, that you're certainly not on your own. And it's so tempting, isn't it? You know, if you've had like a really, really hard and stressful day and just sitting down, cracking open the wine to try and wind down and relax and have a few snacks as well in front of the telly, relaxing thing, an enjoyable thing to do. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. You know, everything in moderation. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. That sometimes serves a really good purpose. But it's when it starts getting really regular that it doesn't, or maybe a habit that you don't enjoy, that doesn't serve you. Because what we have to remember is alcohol, yes, it does, it, it's a depressant in terms of a drug, you know, the term of the drug, it's a depressant, so it will help to relax. But what it also does is it makes sure that you get a very unrestful night's sleep. It is essentially pouring poison into our body. That's what we have to remember. It's nice to have, yes, it's sociable, but it's essentially pouring poison into the body. And usually alcohol is used as a means of, generally speaking, trying to either feel something or trying to get away from something. So if you've started using it as a way to try and relax, and it's become more and more regular, be thinking of what you're trying to get away from. Because quite often what does happen is then we'll have the wine to relax or whatever, and sometimes it can actually make you feel more anxious or more worried about whatever was on your mind before, and that problem is still not resolved. We've just masked it and potentially made it a little bit worse as well. So we've masked it for that short-term enjoyment, and then in the long term it's made it a little bit worse. Similar with snacks as well. Or it can just simply become a habit. So it can start off as something like that, you know, use it to relax, and then it can become a bit of a habit. And if it has become a habit, the first thing to do is to recognize it. And the second thing is to think about why it's happening and what your triggers are. Because sometimes it can be triggered by a stressful day. Or sometimes it can be triggered by the fact that that is just what you tend to do. You have your dinner, you clear away, then you take the wine to the sofa, you grab the snacks and you sit down. And sometimes it is just something so simple as sitting on a different seat or sitting in a different area of the living room, or stopping. It's like stopping a series of events. This is normally how habits happen and how they occur. They're normally triggered by something. So you find your trigger, and then it's like a series of events that unfolds. And if you put something in the way to stop that in its tracks, it makes something that's kind of subconscious conscious again. And you actually have to think about it. And what we always need to remember is we are in control, and there's only us that have the power to put things into our body. You know, we're the only person who's actually putting wine into our body, or the person who's eating the snacks in the evening. That is us. Our hand is going towards our mouth. Like, we are doing it. We are in control of our actions. We always have the power to choose. Always. And it's really important to remember that and bring that into your conscious, that, you know, rather than thinking, oh no, I just can't control myself, I just can't do this, and having that almost victim mindset about it. It's like, no, actually, I am doing this. It's not like I've programmed something. Like, I am actually doing this. I need to remind myself that I am actually in control of what I'm doing. So I have the choice. And one thing you can do is play it forward. How will you feel if you do this? And how will you feel if you break that cycle, that series of events, that cycle, and you go for a walk after dinner, or you go and get a bath after dinner, or you go and do something else after dinner to stop this series of events? You sit in a different seat to make you think about that. And then you sit with that feeling of wanting to do it because it's a habit or something you just do. And remind yourself that you've got a choice. Play it forward. If I sit here for 10 minutes, I know that this feeling's not going to be as strong. It's going to go away. So I just need to ride this craving. And then once I've done that, I'm going to be really proud of myself, and I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm going to feel so much better and so much fresher. And with the snacks in the evening, if you are hungry, like, have something. Make sure you've had a really balanced dinner for starters. But then if you are actually hungry before you go to bed, have something that's going to be helpful, like a banana or a yogurt or something like that. And something like that will be a little bit lighter, but also not going to be full of sugar and keep you awake or your body's struggling to digest it. And then that can be, you know, it can serve its purpose. So it's definitely about thinking about why you're doing it, 100%. So stop in the moment and have a little think about that. And sometimes it even helps to journal and write these things down and kind of like keep a bit of a track of it, like what you're feeling, why it happened, what time it happened, where you were, what the series of events were, and almost like unraveling it for yourself. I hope that's helpful. I'm 60 and not used to doing workouts. Which ones would you recommend starting with? Oh, okay, this one's like linked to the first one. I would recommend starting with, I would do a mixture of everything. I would start with power walking for your cardio. I would start with stronger, or maybe booty band for strength. Either or is fine. If you're just getting started, you probably want to start with some lighter weights and build it up over the weeks. And then maybe Pilates for holistic, Pilates or a stretch. But I would honestly try a little bit of everything. Have a look on demand, put a few things in your favorites that you might want to try. And I mean, you can actually look at them as well. Or you could look at the timetable and think, right, okay, I'm going to have a look at this week's classes. I'm going to play it for a few minutes. And then if I fancy trying it, I'm going to put it in my favorites and build up a bit of a bank. Because the first few weeks of doing the squad, you'll be finding your feet, you'll be learning what's involved in the classes and just trying different things out. But that might be a nice place to start. So those kind of things. And it depends what you enjoy as well. Like I could say this and you might not actually enjoy doing power walking. You might want to do a crazy combat, for example, or you might want to do dance fitness. So decide the kind of things that you enjoy, what lights you up. And in terms of, where to start, you can try anything. And how hard it is depends on, one, the amount of effort you put in. So you might want to pull back, you might want to change some of the moves, and two, how long the workout is. So you might say to yourself, right, I'm going to do 10 minutes of X. And then next week, I'm going to add a bit on. And then the week after that, I'm going to add a bit on. So start small, take it nice and easy, try a few things that you think you might enjoy, and then build it up from there. I would say start with 3 classes as well. 3 classes, and they might even, to begin with, they might even be from the bolt-on area. So they might be 7 to 10 minutes long each. That's actually a good place to look, the bolt-on area, because it's all short classes of different classes, all kinds of classes. We've got some things that are like lower body strength, upper body strength, or just literally 7 minutes of biceps or triceps. That might be a really good place to start, actually. Have a look at the bolt-on area to begin. Where can I learn the yoga moves, please? Oh, if you go to On Demand and click How To, I break down all the moves in there. So you can go through them bit by bit. And then what I would do to put them into practice, so I'd do that first. I'd schedule a session aside to, right, how to area, let's crack these moves. And or what you could do is choose a yoga that's got like chill or de-stress in the name, like this morning's, and I actually go through them a bit slower. So if you find any yogas, so go into the yoga section, any yogas that have chill, de-stress, relax in the name, they're a little bit slower. So like this morning was a little bit slower, and we did 5 or 6 rounds of sun salutations, just taking our time a little bit. And remember, you can always do it at your own pace and your own timing anyway. But the how-to area is really, really useful for that. Tips for managing work stress, please. Oh, this is the good one, isn't it? It is a really good one. And it's going to depend so much on the person and where you're working and what the work is. And if it's in the moment or if it's been like a long period of time. So with stress, there's a couple of versions of stress, if you like. You've got the chronic stress, which is like if you've been stressed for a long period of time and you almost always feel like you're at a level, at this alert level, this alert state, fight flight mode, and you feel like you're constantly kind of there. That's like a chronic stress. So let's park that idea for one moment. And then you've got the acute stresses. So the in the moment, the kind of thing. So that might be like someone just dropped something on, like you got a meeting in 5 minutes, and you're like, oh my gosh, that kind of stress. Or maybe you work with kids and they're constantly playing up or doing something else. You've got this chronic stress and there may be little bouts of acute stress on top of it. So let's think about what kind of stress this is overall. If it is something, say, for example, in the moment, or you've got a big meeting coming up, what you could do is you could go onto the desk workouts area and you could do some of the breath work in there. Pre or post meeting, if it's a really big meeting, it's going to be stressful, or you're feeling that sense of overwhelm in your day, in the middle of your day, that can be really, really useful. And actually, just making yourself do something like that, during the day, if you feel the stress is ramping and ramping and ramping and ramping, putting everything down and doing a few rounds of either box breath or 4, 5, 6 breath, or whatever counts you want to call it. So box breath is where you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds, and then you hold for 4 seconds. And I really like box breath because one, you have to count, so it makes you think about what you're doing. And secondly, I visualize it. And for me, that really, really helps visualizing something. If you feel like you've not got time to do box breath, I would stop everything that you're doing and make sure you do like 10 rounds of box breath, because that's a very good sign that you actually really, really need it. Another one is the 4-5-6. You breathe in for 4, hold for 5 counts, and this is the important part. It's the breathing out for a long period of time. So, okay, it doesn't have to be 6, it could be 7, it could be 8, it could be whatever counts you like, but the out breath needs to be longer than the in breath, because that engages your parasympathetic nervous system, which tells your brain, it signals your brain to relax. And you will feel it. If you do a few rounds of this, say commit to 5 rounds, you breathe in for 4, hold for 5, breathe out for 6. Do that 5 times and you will feel your shoulders relax, you will feel your body kind of sink down, and you'll feel so much better. So in the moment, I would engage some of that. There's other coping mechanisms that you can use as well. Like, are you doing any brain dumps or mind dumps? I find that if I've got a lot on, if I haven't written it down on a piece of paper, I find that it makes me feel worse, or it just helps me, which is why I have a lot of like to-dos. It just helps me to write it down so I can actually see it all the time. So if you don't do that already, make a to-do list, write them down, and circle the ones or write them in a priority list. Like you might have your 3 that have to be done today, the 3, circle them and highlight them. Another thing you can do is use time blocks. So rather than trying to focus on loads of things at the same time, or you're trying to do something and then a message comes through and then an email comes through and your brain is like flitting from one to the other, use a time block and think, right, 45 minutes, set a timer, this is what I'm doing, everything else can wait right now. Put things into airplane mode while you focus on that task for 45 minutes. Then we can come out of there, recharge or switch tasks. And I find that switching tasks really, really useful to like maintain my productivity. So rather than, for me personally anyway, one of my ways to have a break is to move on to something completely and utterly different. And time blocks can be really, really useful for that. And then another thing, which I know I can certainly get better at, and it is improving, is setting boundaries. So setting your time, say if you work from home particularly, when you're going to start and when you're going to finish. Like give or take a little bit. Sometimes it can be stressful in itself creating boundaries, because you need that element of flexibility, because otherwise it becomes a stress in itself if you set a boundary or you set an end time and then end up going over it and you can't quite stick to it as well, because every day is going to be a little bit different, isn't it? So it's about just having that flexibility, but setting a boundary but having a buffer around it so that it doesn't become a stress in itself. And then learning to say no. If you know you're doing your best and you're doing everything you can, then that's all that matters, right? No one can do better than that. And then learning to say no. Other things, on a regular basis, are you looking after yourself? Are you making sure that you're showing up, you're doing your workouts? Are you getting some air? Are you going out for walks, even if it's 20 minutes at lunchtime? And making sure that your area, like where you're working, is decluttered, because sometimes that can just add a load of extra noise that is really, really not helpful. And if you're working in an office or a loud environment, talking about noise, maybe some noise cancelling headphones or something like that. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. It really does kind of depend on the type of stress. And if it's something that has been ongoing and it's been ongoing for a long time and it's affecting you, taking action, speaking to somebody, like speaking to your boss, talking about it, talking to a colleague, and then once you've gone even further down that line and you feel like nothing's changing, you've got to think about like evaluating if it's worth it for you and your well-being. But that's a very large spectrum of that's a very large spectrum of work stress. So I hope that's helpful. I think the main thing is to make sure that you're doing your best to look after you whilst doing your best, right? Next question. Can we talk posture? I'm doing loads of Pilates. It's making me aware of how rubbish my posture is generally. I think I stick my tummy out all the time, but it feels unnatural or hard work to adopt a switched on core permanently. Can I train myself to adopt this posture more naturally so it doesn't feel like so much of an effort? Absolutely, you can. And it's going to come with little and often. So, first of all, I would be saying doing Pilates minimum twice a week. So, you're constantly thinking about your core. And during Pilates, we'll be talking about the breath, lateral breathing that helps you engage your core. And we'll also be improving the mind body connection. So, you'll be thinking about how you're holding yourself and how you're holding these positions all the time. So, it's those constant reminders, isn't it? So, that's the first thing. Now, we need to understand what a neutral posture is. So it means holding your ears, your shoulders, and your hips and ankles in line when you're standing. Your pelvis should be neutral, so not tilted too far forwards, so then you're arching your back and sticking your bottom out, and also not tucking too far under, but just like a slight tuck underneath. So let's line up the ears, the shoulders, the hips, the ankles, slight tuck underneath, and think of the core as being gently engaged, so you're not gripping or breathing in. It's like a drawing your navel in towards your spine kind of feeling. And you don't need to be constantly doing this all the time and be thinking about it all the time to train your body to do this. You might want to practice for short intervals. So it might be like setting an alarm throughout the day or putting a sticky note on your work desk to check your posture throughout the day. So doing it at intervals, just like little reminders. And over time, it will just become then something that you just do. So that can be a little idea, just set a little alarm or sticky note somewhere. And when you're, even you could make it like a habit, you know, when you brush your teeth, thinking about when you're, can't talk now, thinking about when you're brushing your teeth, how you're standing. And you can make a point of doing it. So every time you brush your teeth, that is when you think about it as well. Or every time you're at traffic lights, that is when you think about it. Or every time you go to make a cup of tea, that's another time where you think about how you're holding yourself. And you'll start to do it more and more and more. And another thing you can think about is if you think of your hips and your pelvis being like a bowl of water, think about how you want that to sit. So just imagine for a moment, I know it's a bit of a weird analogy, but you don't want the water to tip out the front, you don't want it to tip out the back. So every time you go make a cup of tea, thinking about that, drawing under, doing your little checks, and you'll soon, over time, get into a really good habit and adapt a better posture. But it just takes time and it takes consistency. So doing it every day, just having those little reminders, and yeah, making sure you're doing Pilates at least twice a week. And that will definitely help with that. All right. Quick vegetarian meals I can make after work when time is limited. Well, firstly, I would definitely have a little look at the recipe books. In fact, do that. Have a look at if you go to the nutrition area, and I've added all of the recipe books, the infographics, the ebook. I've added that all from November into the nutrition area. So there's a few recipe books in there now, and there is a vegetarian one. But oh gosh, it depends. It really depends. The best thing you can do is make bigger meals, like make bigger meals so you've got it there for a few days. Like vegetarian meals you can make after work, time's limited. I mean, personally, I'm a pescatarian, and I find one of the fastest hacks is a tuna salad. Literally, like get some salad, and if you want one that's already chopped, already prepped, get a tin of tuna, pour it on. You could have some, I don't know, some bread with it or some potato, sweet potato, whatever. Put it with it, boom. That is literally like a 2-minute meal. Eggs are a really good one as well. Omelette, scramble it, although I don't know if you'd really want scrambled eggs for dinner. Anyway, omelette is a really great one. It's a great hack. But I think or stir fry. Stir fry is so fast and so easy and really, really healthy because you get loads of vegetables in there. You could put some tofu in there. That is a really, really good, easy one. Like, I'm trying to think of the things that me and Will normally have. I've basically kind of been through a lot of them already. Another one is salmon. I pop that in the air fryer. We had that last night. Salmon salad. popped it in the air fryer. It really didn't take very long. I just left it in there while I went to do something else, came back, boom, all there. But the best thing to do is to try and use a day or an evening where you make quite a lot of stuff. So you might want to roast a load of veggies. You might want to do, like I said, a load of sweet potato, or maybe cook some rice and some pasta. And then you've got loads of staple things there that you can basically add a protein source to. So you've already got your veggies there, you've got your carbohydrate source, and then it's just a case of, right, okay, what am I going to have? Like I said, tofu, tuna, eggs, salmon, put it with it. It's already there, it's already made. But team, let me know what other ideas you've got. Quinoa, that can be a good one as well, because quinoa is more of like like a whole grain carbohydrate source, but it's also quite a good source of protein. So you could have that. I could go and see what I've got. But there's honestly loads of ideas. But I would have a look on one thing we really like to have is we really like to have this. It's like macaroni cheese, but it's made with cashew nuts. It tastes amazing. But that is something that it takes me 40 minutes to do. And what I do is I make that in bulk. So that will be lunch for the next day and like dinner for the day after or something like that. But that's the easiest way to do it, honestly, just spending a little bit of time like that, or just having your go-tos. I think as soon as you've got like 3 go-tos, it becomes really, really easy. And if you make like some veggies and some carbohydrate source, so that all you have to do is put a different protein in there each night, it is so much easier. It is so much easier. I hope that's helpful. But yeah, what I would do is have a look at the recipe books as well. And then once you've got your go-tos, like 3 different meals, or you just make your carbohydrates, your veggies, your salad or whatever, and all you have to do is add your protein, it's so much easier. It is so much easier. You make life easy for yourself. And then if you get the same thing, or you're having the same things like week in, week out, it becomes that easy. You don't have to think anymore. But that's just me. That's what I do. How can I have a better night's sleep? Okay, here are all my top tips for sleep. And what I would do as well is I wouldn't try and implement all of these at the same time. Choose 1, maximum 2 of the tips I'm going to say and try them for a good 3 to 4 weeks before you try something else, because you need to know what is working and what isn't working. But if we just lay the basics down first, is your room dark? And I'm not talking like cracks under the curtains, so it's a little bit light, but dark if you close your eyes. I'm not talking about that rubbish. I'm saying, is it dark? Like, I like a really dark room, to the point where Will takes black tape on holiday to tape up any lights in the room. As in, like, if there's like a red light on a TV, I can't stand it. So Will brings some black tape. Anyway, my mum always used to say, oh, Lauren, just close your eyes and then it's dark. Like, no, it's not. There's something there. But it's true. You need a dark room to be able to sleep well. It also needs to be nice and cool. So none of this cooking yourself before you go to bed. Make sure it is really, really nice and cool. Make sure that you have a consistent bedtime. So you need to be going to bed and getting up at the same time, maybe within maximum like half an hour. But if you're not doing that, that is number 1, like straight away. So if you're doing that and you're really good, like Monday to Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, you have a lie-in, already, boom, out the window. So sleep consistency, and that means getting up, yes, and going to bed at the weekend, yes, at the same time. If sleep's something you struggle with, it's the foundation of health. You need to be doing that. So do that for 3 to 4 weeks. Sleep consistency, number 1 thing. Other things, so again, something quite basic, is make sure you're having your last big meal 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. If you are hungry, yes, have something before you go to bed, because the last thing you want to do is be feeling starving in the middle of the night and that waking you up. That'd be awful. But what you want to do is just have something light. So like a yogurt or a banana or a piece of toast or something like that. So you're not going to wake up feeling starving, and you're not going to bed hungry, but you've also not had a big meal that your body is trying to digest just before you go to bed. Because really what we want to be doing is bring the nervous system down, telling the body to relax, rather than ramping things up and digesting our food and creating heat in the body. We want to be trying to chill out a little bit. You can avoid things like blue light. So maybe making sure that instead of scrolling through your phone and hitting that dopamine, like the dopamine receptors or a dopamine response just before you go to bed, reading a book or journaling, writing things down. And maybe watching telly if you don't find that relaxing before you go to bed, maybe reading a book. And another thing you want to be doing, I'm going to say two more things, is having a consistent bedtime routine. A routine where you get into almost like a bit of a ritual. So your mind, it starts the process of, right, yep, I am starting to go to bed. I am going to relax. You probably have a routine when you wake up in the morning. Most people do, like what they do first. Like for me, I get up, put the coffee on, have a glass of water, feed Harvey, have the coffee, and then I have my set routine of what I do. And a lot of people do that as well. It might not be exactly that. It might be, okay, wake up, snooze for 10 minutes, get up, walk the dog, come back, have my breakfast. So we all kind of do it. But do you have one for the evening at night? Because if you start to have one, and a nice relaxing one at that, your body and your mind will start to wind down before you go to bed. It might be, I have my dinner, I clean up, then I don't know, I have a bath. That's my switch off point. After the bath, I moisturize. And then after the moisturizer, I then go and read a book. And after I've done that, well, it might not be that. I'm just trying to say, get into a bit of a routine, a bit of a ritual that your body and brain soon learns is your bedtime ritual. And that helps. So create one, and create one that serves you. Not one that's like, right, I have my dinner and then I get the popcorn out and then I sit in front of the telly eating the popcorn and then, oh, I forgot to have a shower. So then I get a shower just before I go to bed and I finish off the popcorn and then I let the dog out and then I come upstairs and then I check the news and like, you can see where I'm going with this. Just make sure it's something relaxing. And finally, and by the way, we're all guilty of it. That can absolutely be me. But if we really want to improve our sleep, it's what we want to do. And then finally, magnesium. Magnesium can be great just before you go to bed. A lot of people swear by it for like a deeper night's sleep. So it can be something to try for 3 or 4 weeks. How can I find the time to work out? I'm so busy with work and the kids. Oh my goodness. It can be really, really challenging. Like I'm not a mum myself, but I know how busy life can get. So just speaking from like personal experience, like I've got a dog. I'm a dog mum. I've got a dog mum. I'm running a house. I'm running 2 jobs and a team. I know how busy it can get. But I also know what happens if I don't do anything to fill up my cup. I show up as being quite irritable. I can have such like brain fog if I've not done anything, if I've not done my exercise. I can feel really sluggish. I can just not feel right, like in myself. And also you can start to feel a little bit of resentment. When you don't do anything for you and you're running around and you're doing everything for everybody else and you're not doing anything for you and find the time just as doing something so simple as moving your body so that you can feel good, so that you can show up for everybody else, you can sometimes start to feel agitated, sluggish, low on energy, and a little bit of resentment as well. So what you want to do is make sure that you're taking the pressure off, number one. Take the pressure off what you think it has to look like. Because in reality, it can be messy, it can be imperfect, it can look like anything. And find a time that works for you. What is a time that works for you that you can consistently do? Even if it means getting up for the 6 a.m. class before anybody else gets up, before the kids get up, or if they get up at 6, get up at 5:30, get up and do your thing first, because then you've done something to fill up your cup at the start of the day. It's energizing, and just like they say on an airplane, you put your oxygen mask on first so that you can then help others put theirs on. You've got to put your oxygen mask on first. You've got to look after you. And if that is just not possible to do an early morning workout, maybe you do it in your lunch break. Or maybe you do it in the evening whilst dinner is cooking. Or maybe you do it when you put the kids to bed. But you've got to find that time for you, because no one else is going to find that time for you. And it can be 7 minutes. It could be 7 minutes of an upper body strength or 7 minutes of a power walking. It doesn't have to be, right, there's no point in doing it if I haven't got half an hour. So it's about making it work for you. And like I said earlier, fitness isn't something that we can just switch on and off as we please. If we want to be healthy and we want to show up as our best selves for our kids, and also don't forget role model. If your kids see you working out, wow, how great is that? If they see mum prioritizing her health, her well-being, her fitness, how amazing is that? You could have such an incredible positive influence on your kids. And removing that mum guilt is so important. Like by spending that time on you, you're not being selfish. You're making sure you can show up for everybody else as your best self. And not only that, your kids are seeing that actually it's really important to prioritize your health, well-being, and fitness. And they will grow up thinking, yeah, first and foremost, I need to look after my health and fitness. And they will fully get that. So you need to schedule your workouts in like appointments. It is a non-negotiable. Would you do that if you booked in with the hairdresser and say you're going to be at the hairdresser for 3 hours because you're having some sort of new colour put in? You would show up at the hairdresser. Or if you had a dentist appointment, you make sure you were there. This is about making it doable and breaking it into small chunks. It doesn't need to look perfect. It can look like anything. But let's go for short, efficient workouts, and let's find a time that works for you and make sure that you are planning ahead. So put it in your journal, plan for the week ahead every week. Make sure you've got that appointment there in your diary scheduled in that time and have that flexibility. If something crops up, if something happened with the kids, they're not very well, okay, fine, we can't do that workout then. Can I do it later? If I can't do it then, move it to tomorrow. As long as that tomorrow doesn't keep getting moved, then that's okay. All right. And finally, I need a kick up the bum. How do I get back on the wagon? I think first and foremost is recognizing that we're humans and this is going to happen, and that's okay. It's what we do about it. Not everyone is going to feel motivated 100% of the time, but it's about thinking about why we're doing it. With exercise, you get that immediate reward of feeling amazing as soon as you've done your workout. Normally, as soon as the warm-up's done and then you're into it, you're already feeling really, really good. But then also it's thinking about your deeper why. Like, okay, yeah, I'll do the workout and I know I'll feel better for doing it. Okay, that's great. But why do we work out on a regular basis? Is it because you want to feel stronger? Is it because you want to have more energy and finally get up in the morning and feel good and ready to go? Or have you got a specific goal that you're working towards? Maybe you've got a holiday next year and you want to go shopping for some brand new dresses. Like, write it down what's actually important to you and put it somewhere that you're going to see on a regular basis. So it might be in the front of your diary or on a notepad or on the fridge. Why is this important to you? Maybe it's just so you can role model for your kids, or so that one day you can lift them up in the air and throw them in the air, or you can run up the hill with them, whatever it is. And don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for the moment where you feel ready to get back on the wagon. Draw a line today and do it today. Not even tomorrow. That's rubbish. Do it today. And it might be something so small as I'm going to go on a 10-minute walk. I'm going to walk to the shops. And I'm going to walk fast to the shops. Or I've got a choice of having some biscuits or a healthy snack. Right. I'm going to make a choice that aligns with my goals because I know if I do that, I'll feel good. What's the alternative? Play it forward. How will you feel if you had the biscuits? And how would you feel if you chose to have the healthy snack? It might be something so simple as drinking a bit more water. But it's all about progress over perfection. So it doesn't have to look a certain way. We need to be planning our classes. So we need to be putting in our diaries what we're going to be doing for the week ahead. Put in something achievable for you. So it might be, I'm going to choose between 3 and 4 workouts or 3 and 5 workouts, and they're all going to be short ones next week. Schedule them in, make sure you do it, and then show up for you. And it's a case of sometimes adulting ourselves, like knowing that we're not going to feel motivated, knowing that we don't want to do it, and then just adulting ourselves and making sure we get there. Knowing that once we've done it, you'll feel in a better mood, you'll be feeling energized and a real sense of accomplishment that comes with that. And visualize yourself achieving what you want to achieve. Set yourself a little mini goal. What is it going to be? It might be going into 2025, regularly hitting 3 to 4 workouts a week. And then you do that, you keep showing up and you go into 2025 and you've been doing that, you will start to reap more rewards than you ever even thought possible. Because when you look after yourself and you're keeping fit and you're keeping healthy, you're happier. You show up with more energy. And you might even things such as, you're seeing your body change shape, but also you're showing up better at work. You might gain a promotion. Your relationships might improve. You might gain new friends. There's so many benefits that happen when we show up for ourselves. Slip-ups happen. We fall off the wagon. It's part of being a human being. So instead of beating ourselves up, acknowledge what's happened. Like, yep, that's where we are, whatever. I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on how I'm going to move forwards. And I'm not going to make it something stupid like, right, okay, because I didn't do that, now I need to make sure that I don't eat X, Y, Z. And I also need to make sure that I hit 6 workouts because I missed 3 last week. That's a very good way to become your own worst enemy and your own bully. Let's make something realistic, something doable, set a range target, and celebrate every small win. Make sure you write down on those Wednesday wins. Anyway, gang, that's all from me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will see you in class bright and early. And as always, if you've got anything that you need, please don't hesitate to get in touch, team. And I will see you soon. Have a great one. I really, really hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please make sure you let me know. Let me know, comment on the Facebook post or even on the podcast. Let me know on there. I'm pretty sure you can write on there and say if you found it useful, but please do. And do make sure you share it as well, because the more people we can help, in my eyes, the better. That's why we do this. All right, team, have a good one, and I will see you in class in the morning.